Hello and welcome to your BTV News Update for the week of March 8th, 2021. As always, I am your news director, Ryan Oates, and we are here to give you the latest in politics and the COVID pandemic, both on campus and beyond. Up first is our political commentator, Allison Sanel, discussing the current discourse surrounding COVID relief and so-called cancel culture. Take it away, Allison.
President Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package is currently going through the Senate. They are using the budget reconciliation process to get the bill passed without needing Republican support. Democrats in Congress believe the bill is important to get passed for the many Americans affected by the COVID pandemic. Republicans argue that Democrats are being partisan and using the reconciliation process. But since the COVID relief bill is widely popular among American citizens, congressional Democrats don't agree that this bill should be at risk of not passing due to lack of Republican Senate support. The Seuss estate decided to stop selling 6 of Dr. Seuss's books because they portrayed certain cultures in racially or ethnically insensitive ways. Also, recently, Hasbro has decided to drop the Mister from their Potato Head brand of toys. Conservatives claim that this is just another example of cancel culture at work, despite the fact that these were decisions made by private owners of intellectual properties. But, won't children be so confused by their genderless potato toys while they read their redacted copy of Scrambled Egg Super? Governor Andrew Cuomo is under fire this week for 2 different controversies. Cuomo was found to have been lying about nursing home COVID death tolls. The numbers were made to seem lower than they really were. Cuomo has also been accused of sexual harassment by 3 women, 2 of which were former staffers of his. In a press briefing on Wednesday, Cuomo admitted that some remarks he made to female staffers may have made them uncomfortable, but he still denies that he touched anybody inappropriately without consent. On February 27th, students received a Beeline email about, quote, several racial incidents on campus. It's not clear exactly what may have prompted the email, but there have been speculations. But this is included in the wider pattern of racial incidents on campus. In the email, students were assured that, quote, racist incidents will not be tolerated at Binghamton University. While the gesture is something, nothing in the email talked about what exactly Bing is doing to combat racist incidents from taking place in the future. Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Allison. And now we turn to our very own COVID correspondent, here to speak on some of the new developments in COVID policy on campus. Here's Cailan Dougall with the updates.
Hey, Binghamton. There have been some pretty important developments in the last week, so let's get right into it. My job is usually to discuss the state of COVID on campus. Just a few days ago, however, we got a development on the front of the vaccines that's worth talking about, and it is much bigger than this campus. NewYorkTimes.com on Saturday, February 27th, discussed how on that day, the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, authorized Johnson & Johnson's single-dose COVID vaccine, which made it the 3rd vaccine to be authorized for emergency use in the United States. As we all know, Moderna and Pfizer were its predecessors. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine had a 72% efficacy rate in the U.S. clinical trials site, a number scientists have celebrated. In addition, it had an efficacy rate of 85% across all trials against severe forms of COVID-19 and an 100% efficacy rate against hospitalizations and deaths. About 4 million doses will begin to reach Americans in the coming days, with about 37 million supposed to be shipped by the end of March. Dr. Anthony Fauci, one of the most widely respected infectious disease experts in the country, has said not to focus on the difference between 72 and 94, which is about the efficacy rate of Moderna and Pfizer, but to think about the fact that we now have 3 vaccines available to us. Fauci is highlighting this since there is concern over hesitancy regarding the Johnson & Johnson vaccine due to its lower efficacy rates compared to Moderna and Pfizer. The New York Times article also mentioned how the Johnson & Johnson clinical trials were done at a different time and under different circumstances than both Moderna and Pfizer's were. So it's an apples to oranges comparison, if you will. Johnson & Johnson is expected to deliver the bulk of the 100 million vaccines in its contract by late spring or early summer. Lastly, the article talked about how more Americans are willing to get the vaccine now. 55% said they had already gotten 1 dose or were planning to get one, up from 34% in December. There are a couple of bigger picture ideas to everything I've just discussed. First, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is going to help substantially reduce the spread of the virus and lower the positivity, which will bring us one step closer to the end of the pandemic. And remember, it has an 100% efficacy rate against hospitalizations and death. That's fantastic news and means that the vaccine will help prevent hospitals from being overwhelmed and will likely save millions of lives. But also, more Americans are becoming accepting of the vaccines, which is great news. The more people that take it is the closer we get to putting this pandemic behind us. So, great news there. As I mentioned before, my primary job is to talk about the state of COVID on campus. So let's talk about it. On Wednesday, March 3rd, Beeline sent around an email from Vice President Brian Rose, who described how we're seeing the most challenging pattern in COVID cases since the start of the pandemic. Almost all of the cases are among students. Positivity was 0.08% when we moved into our residence halls. Now, we're seeing between 40 and 50 cases per day. Binghamton is now supporting 154 students in 4 residence halls on campus, and an additional 122 students in hotels. The university is taking care of many things for these students, such as meal delivery, transportation, daily health and wellness checks, package delivery, birthday messages, and much more. The testing center is testing up to 2,000 students per day. Binghamton is doing all of this because it believes that the opportunity to keep students together on campus and attend in-person classes when and wherever possible provides a far better education than the alternatives, and we all know what that looks like. Vice President Rose said that he has seen the following. We have much more COVID cases than any other SUNY campus. Super Bowl parties on and off campus contributed greatly to the initial spread. Campus is getting reports of on and off campus events and parties. Greek life recruiting and social events, in other words, frat parties, have been happening. There's evidence of spread among club sports team members. It's clear that students have been going in dorms other than their own due to contact tracing and community spread. And lastly, that off-campus students who are supposed to be in quarantine or isolation are not doing so. Rose recognizes that it's difficult for the university to police these things and enforce the COVID policy laid out in the Rights and Responsibilities document that we all signed before coming to campus. He appealed to all of us to do better to be a part of the collective action problem and be a member of the community and not just a consumer of the university's services. He also asked us what we will do to ensure that we can stay together on campus this semester. It's disappointing to hear that students are doing these kinds of things, as there are other ways to be social and have fun other than going out to a party. For the COVID numbers themselves, as of 8:15 a.m. on Friday, March 5th, which is during the 2-week period from February 27th through March 12th, 7,747 tests on campus had been done, with 226 total on-campus positives, 2.91%, and 237 on and off-campus positives, 3.05%. Those numbers are high and are about where the state has been over the last few days. These numbers will definitely change by the time of publication. I'd like to conclude this segment by commending all those who have been good overall about abiding by the COVID guidelines and policies and who continue to test negative. All of you are what allows our semester to remain on campus. I'd also like to say once again that I understand the motivation and desire to go out and party, as I share it with so many of you. Well, that's all we have for you on COVID for right now, Binghamton. Let's work to get the positivity down and continue to make this semester as productive as we can make it, and we'll be back soon with more updates. This has been Cailan Dougall for BTV6 News, providing you with your COVID update. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Cailan. And now for a new segment here at BTV News, The Weather, hosted by our newest member, Sarah O'Shea. Take it away, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah, a new member of the news team. I'm a sophomore majoring in math and computer science. And welcome to the weather. I'll be covering the weather from Monday the 8th to Sunday the 14th. These predictions were made on March 4th. On Monday, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 42 degrees. On Tuesday, it'll be cloudy in the morning and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 53 degrees. On Wednesday, it'll once again be partly cloudy, and it's our potential warmest day of the week with a high of 58 degrees. Watch out, there's a 40% chance of rain on Thursday, both during the day and at night with a high of 56 degrees. It could once again rain on Friday with a high of 44 degrees. On Saturday, we have a high of 41 degrees. On Sunday, our potential coldest day of the week, there's a high of 40 degrees and a 30% chance of small amounts of snow, probably not even an inch. And don't forget, on Sunday morning, be prepared to lose an hour's sleep and set your clocks forward for the start of daylight saving time. And now for our Doppler radar. So, as you can see on the Doppler radar, we have mostly clear skies for the start of the week. You can see that Thursday rain coming in. It's going to remain for Friday. On Saturday, it'll be mostly clear. And then you can see that Sunday snow coming in. And that's the weather. Oh, back to you, Ryan.
Excellent work, Sarah. And with that, we finish your news update for the week of March the 8th, 2021. Please join us again next week for more updates. Until then, this has been Ryan Oates signing off.